Hey there, welcome back. My name is Melanie. My business is Soul Ease Massage and Mind Body Therapy, and you have stumbled upon the Self-Care Summit, Coping in the Midst of Global Crisis. And I have my friend Renee here with me today. Renee, how about you introduce yourself a little bit? What's going on with you? What's in your business world?
Sure. So my name is Renee Guidelli, and I am trying to kind of adjust to the new normal. That's what I'm calling it these days, is the new normal. And from seeing different clients and having different classes and programs and stuff at our spiritual healing center in Wellsburg, New York, just closing those doors and just kind of like being present with everything that's being presented, and also trying to help the community get through this crazy time.
Yeah.
So
So what's the name of your business?
it's heart-centered living.
All right.
And so heart-centered living, and the community center is Heartlight Center.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us today. There's so
Um,
much happening
Thank
in the
you for
world.
having me.
Yeah. And it seems like there's such a flux of information and what's going on, and we all need some stable points. So I'm sure that you're experiencing a little bit of instability too. You said that you've had to shut the doors of your actual center, but you're still helping clients probably virtually, like we're doing this today with Zoom. So I'll
Yeah.
just, yeah, tell me more about that. What's happening? How is COVID-19 impacting you?
Yeah. So when we made the decision to shut the doors about 3 weeks ago, I had already kind of started to put some things together so that I was already transitioning to doing more online stuff. Like I actually have an online university I started, but just really being available to do, just really being available to do simple little like self-care tips and techniques and tools. I'm doing that through the Facebook community. I'm having conversations with people online. And whenever I think of someone, I just am constantly sending them a text, an
Hmm.
email, a message, and just letting them know I'm thinking of them and anything that I can do. Not like a lot of information, but just tiny little sound bites to ease the calm and to ease calm the anxiousness and the I'm really enjoying watching your kitty.
This is
Oh goodness.
my tiny little
So
sound bites of healing right here.
yeah, I know exactly. So that's what I've been doing, and especially like for myself as well, just finding different things. Going out in nature has been really, really huge, and staying grounded,
Yeah.
really staying grounded, getting out of here and getting into the body has really been very helpful as well.
Yeah, that's great. I I love that you are still making it a mission to connect. And I know I've said this before on my previous video, but that's been my saving grace really is anytime I start to feel like I'm losing it, I focus on connecting with another person and just saying, "Hey, are you okay?" And then kind of forced to follow my own advice. So that's good that I know I'm not the only one that's out there doing that. That's not I'm not the only one that's using human connection in whatever way we can have, virtually or text messages or any of
Yeah.
that, to kind of stick together and engage with each other and make sure that we're all supported.
Yeah, and I think we all have amazing like tools and techniques and tips because we're so unique and different that we can bring to the table, and someone could just be like, gosh, I didn't really think about that, and add another tool to the toolbox. And
Yeah,
the medicine kit just keeps kind of expanding, um and the connection is just so huge. It really, really is, because you're not alone. You're not alone.
absolutely. And I also mentioned that in my introduction video that not everybody's going to resonate with every single self-care technique that is presented in these videos, but give it a whirl. I mean, open your mind and just see, because you never know when something will hit home. You just have never tried it before. And that's the beauty of self-care. It's so individualized, right? That's why it's self-care. You have to do what works for you. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing what tips and techniques you might have for us. But first,
Sure.
why is self-care so important? Why, especially now with a pandemic happening and every bit of us, every single bit of the world being in a little bit of a crisis, why is
Yeah.
self-care important?
Well, This is a really great question, and I've been fortunate. I have really developed a holistic healing team for myself. I did it back in November, and so I've been really, really paying attention to what I'm doing for self-care more and more, like eating right, getting my supplements in, and I've actually from November to now I've lost like into my self-care routine, and it makes it a little bit easier now, whereas if I started to try to lose 20 pounds now, I would probably go crazy. So it's been nice to be able to see the momentum from that. And why it's super important is because we have to really take care of our bodies, because right now the energies are everywhere. It's easy for us to get drained, to feel overwhelmed, and that self-care, the words that I've been really using a lot, like for the last 2.5, 3 weeks, I've been what I call fortifying my energy, so that I can get to that place where I can spend time even with somebody on, online for a while. Because otherwise, if I'm not fortifying my energy, taking care of my body, making sure that my mind is at ease, if I'm not doing that, then I'm really no good for anybody. And I have to really be taking care of myself first. They always say about that mask, right? In the
Yeah.
airplane, where we have to be doing, I'm understanding that more and more. And I'm seeing in my own little community that the people around me, I'm having more compassion and understanding, because I'm not getting short. I'm not getting upset if other things are happening around me, and I'm able to be there for them in a way that I can empower them to do things that they need to do to take care of themselves. So
Right.
it's not just about taking care of everybody. It's about taking care of us, so that we do have the resources and the energy to help others and assist
Yeah.
others at this time.
There's definitely a lot of folks that I've come into contact with that they're so worried and they're so fearful about circumstances and really just being in the unknown. We have no idea how this is going to go and how it's going to turn out. And especially you and I, we live in New York State, and where a lot of the crisis, true emergent crisis, is in New York City. You never know how far that reach could happen. Um, so what are you telling your people, and how are you counteracting all that fear and worry that's happening?
Well, I feel like the really most important thing, which I guess goes without saying, and some people that are watching this video are probably doing it, but um, really making sure you're discerning when it comes to taking in information. Like as far as like no, like news has just been not something that I'm doing. I mean, people want to be informed, but they want to be informed in a way where they can feel kind of more empowered and in control of the circumstances, instead of paralyzed by them. And that's a really big one for me and for those that I've been talking to. I've also been saying, like, really getting steady. I don't know if I'd use the word exercise, but steady movement, because once again, if we are kind of like still and all of this is happening around us, it starts to clog up and gum up our bodies and our minds. And so if we're walking outside, or if we're, I don't know if I want to say cleaning. I can't say that
My house is messier
I'm
now.
real big on cleaning, but I mean, if you can be even dancing. Gosh, I'm starting to feel like I really want to, like, get this place looking a little bit better. So that's something I've been saying. I've been saying also to stay light and find things that make your heart happy and soul sing. I mean, the world doesn't have to stop. It's just we have a little bit of a pause. So maybe all those things that you wanted to do, now you have a chance to kind of look at them in a different light. It goes without saying, finding time to do a little bit of meditation, like, looking at what are you grateful for in this moment right now, and what can you do to stay present. Staying present is so huge in this time. So yeah, but really, like, just and doing what we can, again, to fortify our energy. That means nutritionally, physically, emotionally, like really working through our emotions, journaling our emotions, because I think that's another thing, Melanie, is it's really okay to be feeling what we're feeling
Yeah,
and work through it.
I agree 100% with that. And part of my introduction video is to say, offer yourself some grace right now, because that we do have to take the time to wallow in fear, in discomfort, in grief, because we've lost our structure and our schedule, and just offer yourself some grace around that and feel it. Go ahead and feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. And also be okay with like I think this is one of the things too that I've been really, once again, I take a little while before I actually pull the trigger on things, and I'm starting to kind of come out of my shell more because I've spent so much time reflecting and looking at what's working and what's not. This is also a time to be planting seeds, new seeds, right? I mean, I know that we're releasing and we're grieving and we're going through all this letting go, but if all we do is focus on this letting go and releasing, then you're almost forgetting that the energy that's around you that wants to come through you is there, because you're almost too focused on the letting go. So give yourself a time to like imagine a new world for you, to create a new life, to have a new environment. I mean, while we're losing things, we're also bringing in really new things, and it's important for us to not just stay positive, but to be looking at how we can recreate that in our world and in our lives.
That's true. And what perfect timing, because spring, we just had first day of spring, right? So it is the perfect timing for that. Not just to be planting seeds so that folks can get their gardens started and their flowers planted, but also
In our garden.
plant seeds of intention to
Yeah.
become better people through this and more resilient people.
Yeah.
It is tragedy and struggle that create grit, and we need that too. Yeah, and really to know true.
Yeah, the diamond. Yeah, what do they say about the diamond? Like, I mean, there's all this, like, you gotta kind of like the grit and the dirt, and you gotta get all of that kind of, smushed out of there before it becomes bright as a diamond. So yeah, we're like diamonds in the rough, and we just gotta go through the dirt and the grit. Yeah, which
Mhm.
makes us stronger, better people.
Yeah. So I might be putting you on the spot saying this, but you and we're sitting in our house, we're comfortable. We have a warm house, we have food in our bellies, and we're in essence in this shell protecting ourselves from the COVID-19 virus. But there are a lot of essential workers out there, especially those in our medical fields, in the prisons, and the first responders, our law enforcement, that are constantly every single day putting themselves at risk. What message would you have for them in terms of their own self-care? What would you say to them?
Yeah, great question. Well, again, it goes back to fortifying your energy. I think our best messenger is our bodies. And if we can give ourselves an opportunity to just have downtime, even if it's 5-10 minutes here and there. And I know when you're in the midst of it and you're right in it, it's kind of hard to have that downtime. But if you can really find that space between the doing and having to be kind of in flight or fight in some ways, in that mode, if you can find that, and taking a really deep breath and bringing yourself back to center in whatever way, everybody comes back to center in different ways, whether it's through breath, whether it's putting your hand on your heart, I mean, even hugging a tree or holding a rock. I know those sounds kind of almost woo woo, but in some ways you've got to find something tangible to
Mm-hmm.
bring you back to center. And I can't, and I mean, I really believe in the power of prayer. I believe that when you are in those moments of trying to find your center, pray, pray, but also do it from a place of recognizing your prayers are being answered and that there's help always there, that you're not doing this alone in so many ways. So my heart so goes out to so many of those on the front lines. I mean, I have my nieces are nurses, and in the city and Massachusetts area and stuff. And so I know, I mean, my heart goes out to everybody out there that's somehow affected in this.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, faith is such a big deal. I mean, when you don't have anything else, it comes back to faith. And whether you pray, whether you scream, whether you sing, however you connect to your faith, that is the guiding force to get through every single struggle. And I love how you brought it back to your body too, because you can feel faith in your body. You can feel, you said prayer, you can feel, a reverberation of, we'll call it energy for lack of a better term, but that's connection. It's connection to faith. And I think that that's a huge bit of advice, because it can be easy to lose faith in worry and in anxiety and in getting caught up in the physical sensations of like heart beating really fast, or sweating, or not being able to go to sleep, or eating too much or not eating enough, and changes in your appetite, and just getting in that cycle. So
Yeah,
thank you for that reminder.
yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, you know, we're dealing with first chakra stuff, that survival first chakra stuff, and that faith is like solid. It's stability, it's security, it feels strong roots, and so it's our foundation. And yeah, thank you for giving me that opportunity to speak to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, and you said you hugging a tree or touching something tangible, or I think that there's so many people that have pets to come home to, even if their families have had to relocate, and even those that are in their homes right now with nowhere to go and nothing to do and feel displaced. We have our pets, and we have our children, and we have that. Whether you know how to meditate or not, there is always gratitude to come back to. So I
Yeah,
finding any of those anchors and really
yeah,
utilizing those anchors. Yeah.
yeah.
My cat won't let me not have her as an
I
anchor, apparently.
it's We don't have any animals here. We have like the neighborhood cats come in here, but I've been loving I've been loving watching the cat. It
Yes,
looks a lot like our little nutmeg growing up. So I was having a moment there.
aw, that's awesome. Oh, so what else would you like to say? What message do you have for the healers in the community, for the massage therapists, the energy workers, the people that are used to being able to touch and communicate physically with others in
Yeah.
your job? What would you say to them right now?
Yeah, I mean, I really think this is a time for us to get kind of creative. I mean, we're a really creative, the healing community. I mean, healers are creative. We work with so much energy around us. And so it's time to get creative and really pull out our tools that we have been working with for, however many years we've been working with it. And the ones that have been sitting on a shelf sort of beckoning to us to like pull out the book and read for a moment, or the essential oils that are sitting on our shelf. I mean, all of those things, for me, when this first started, I just pulled all this stuff together and put it in one place. I made a list of it and I said, this is going to be what I'm going to go to
Mhm.
in any shape, way, or form. Because sometimes when we're in that fight or flight or overwhelmed, it's sort of like having that prescription in front of you. Like, I've had a cold before and I've taken this, this, and this, and I remember it working, but in that moment I couldn't think of it. So now here's my toolbox in front of me. And to really I mean, we can't lose hope. We're being asked now more than ever to walk our talk. And I say that with incredible compassion and love for the spiritual healing and massage therapists and, community. But this is a great opportunity for us to use those tools, all of them that we have been given,
Mhm.
and help others with those tools as well. Because
Yeah.
when we can tell our story with those tools working for us, then we have more of a better relationship and connection with someone, than just sort of saying, well, I read this in a book. You're like, no, this is what I did. This is what happened for me. Maybe you can try it too. It's
Yeah,
worth a shot.
personal experience is everything, um, because it's kind of a been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And I can speak to that. There's a lot of people that are saying, I'm trying to cope, but all of my normal things that usually work aren't working. Well, this isn't a normal circumstance. This isn't what we're used to. This virus isn't even the normal viruses. It's a out of control, I'm not going to get into the science of the virus, but normal's not going to work. So it is time to try something new. And even though you may have 100 things in your tool belt that have always worked, it might be okay to just pull down that new book and start something new and get creative about it. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for that. That's amazing, and that's inspiring
You're
to me
welcome.
too. And actually, I've been doing a yoga practice since I was 16 years old, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna try Kundalini yoga today. So day one of Kundalini yoga, just to get that breath going,
Ah,
and then get the movement in my spine happening. And it wasn't what I'm used to, but I don't want what I'm used to. That's not going to keep me grounded and
Yeah.
centered and focused.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, routine and rituals work when we work them, but if they're no longer working, we've got to come up with other ones that are working. And like you said, this is a completely different time for us. And when this first happened, I really pulled back from a lot of things. I my emotions and energy was all over the map. And then like, it was just a few days ago, I finally said, wow, Renee, you got to start like getting back out there in a way where you can handle it and not feel like, you know what I mean? Like, again, fortifying your energy. And one of the things we did in our town, which I'd love to just say really quickly here, is because it's not just about like our healing practice. What we're doing in our town is 7 o'clock every night. It's been phenomenal. I mean, we've got this big, huge church bell, but we've got people around the town now that are honking horns and banging on pots and pans at 7 o'clock at night, every night now, to say, hey, we're here. You know, we aren't going anywhere. We're with each other. And we've got fireworks going on now. We've got cannons. And I mean, every night it gets bigger and bigger. And those are the kind of things that put smiles on our faces. That's not normal, right? We usually have the cops called on us, but look at, we're doing it. I
Yeah.
mean, our mayor's doing it, you know? So that's the kind of stuff we've got. That's what I'm saying about get creative and just, if you have an idea or a thought or inspiration, go for it, because what's the worst that can happen?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to shoot it down. You're going to, shoot it down. So that's what we can do at this time. Definitely.
It reminds me of, there's the Dr. Seuss Horton Hears a Who. Do you remember that? When it's on a little tiny top of the flower, the little tiny town on the pollen, and we are here, we are here. And individually, they might have felt very, very small, but as a collective whole town, they raised enough noise and let the elephant know that they were there, whatever that character was. It's elephant in my brain, I might be wrong, but we are here, we are here, we are here. And we truly are. As a community, there are so many stories out there of people supporting each other and saying we are here. So if you can raise your own voice and say I am here, whether that's saying I need help or if that's saying I am available to help, we are here. We are here for each other.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes.
Oh, awesome. Well, Renee, thank you so much for being on with me today. If people want to get a hold of you, are you open to that? How would they go about doing that?
Sure, absolutely. I have a couple different ways that I can be contacted. It seems like everybody is doing a lot of stuff on Facebook, so I'll certainly mention that I do have a Facebook page. One, we have a Facebook community called Heart-Centered Living, and we're really engaging quite a few people within the community to start putting stuff out there. You can also check out my website is reneeguidelli.com. Then of course, and that has an email as well. So it's reneeguidelli@frontiernet.net. But any of those ways, look me up on Facebook. Absolutely. And the Heartlight Center. How could I forget about the Heartlight Center? The Heartlight Center, which is a spiritual community, spiritual community center that we're doing lots of different programs and stuff. And that's been really hard, Melanie, shutting that down, because we were doing women's empowerment groups, healing circles, things like that. And I'm even hearing people say, oh, are we still doing healing? And I'm like, no, not in, not that close, but we can do it in other ways. And again, you become creative and you find ways to do that. So
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And we will emerge, and folks are going to need us later on. The last person that I interviewed, reminded we have to use the word fortitude, but we have to be strengthening ourselves, because when we have this whole like whoosh of we're all able to get back together again, our immune systems have to be good to avoid the virus being reactivated, and we have to be prepared to be able to help people in a different way, right?
Yeah, because there's such a huge awakening going on. And so we're going to need to be there for those spiritual seekers and those that are seeking nourishment of mind, body, and spirit that have been like, whoa. And you're so right. And that I've been hearing that so much in my meditations of, fortify, prepare, get your center up and going, because you're going to be needed.
Yeah. So
when you hear those messages, you're just like, you can't hide underneath the covers of your bed for too long, You can't put those you have you're like, oh, okay, thank you.
I mean, Netflix works to distract for a little while.
I know. But you know what, honey? I think even when we call ourselves distracted, stuff is still cooking in there. Our consciousness and those things on a low, they're percolating so that when we're ready, you're like, okay, yeah, stuff's been happening underneath the
Yeah,
surface. I haven't just been lazy, you know.
sure.
So it's important for us to know that.
Yeah, I gave myself about a week to wallow, and then yesterday morning, Thursday morning, I woke up early for an online networking meeting that I'm president for BNI local chapter, and I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to present. I've been doing nothing. Oh. And then in 5 minutes, I'm all of a sudden advertising that I'm doing this on Facebook and have already had an overwhelming response. So when you're ready, you're ready. And it's okay to not be ready.
Beautiful. Because even then, you're getting ready.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Okay.
All right. Any last words that you want to say, or does that feel complete for you?
It feels complete for me. I just want to say thank you so very much for giving this opportunity, Melanie. We've been here for 3 years, and I have really been, I really want to do more for the community. I want to get involved, and I believe in these type of projects where we're collaborating and working with each other. Where I came from, we did that a lot. So thank you so much. This really made my day. It was very impromptu, and it was perfect.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you for volunteering. And I jotted down all those things that you said, where people can find you now and later on. And may you continue to be a blessing for the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And you
All
too.
right.
Thanks,
Don't hang
sweetie.
up. I'm just going to hit stop recording.
Okay.
All right. So that was our video for today. And stay tuned because we have a lot more coming. I'll see you in day 3.